Welcome to another episode of the Dabao Show, and in this series, Days Off, we follow a guest from the F&B industry on their day off to see what they get up to, have a meal with them, have a bit of tea, and maybe spill a bit as well. Between our guest, BK, and I, we will be picking a location each to hang out, have a conversation, and learn more about our guests through their stories. For today, our guest is Bryan, one of the chefs from Paraphrase.
Hi, I'm Bryan. I'm a freelance chef. I'm currently working at Paraphrase.
I picked this just because it looked nice, and then you sort of like justified like, oh, it's traditional kaya toast and stuff like that. So I thought, yeah, let's pick this. I'm a sucker for kaya toast and eggs. It's all gone. But I usually go for the sugar one. Like, I'm very basic. I like the sweet stuff, so I usually go for the sugar one. Even like the Malaysia one, they do with condensed milk, right? I like that kind of stuff. So I'm not a very big fan of the kaya stuff. Too bad they only have that here. But I mean, it's alright. How do you get started becoming a chef?
This journey was unintentional. My dad was the one that recommended me to start a journey in F&B. But when I started this journey, I initially wanted to give up. I mean, I felt like it wasn't cut out for me. But after all the time invested into it, I persevered through, and eventually I felt that this is the route for me.
You also had your culinary studies, and then you started working. But at which point do you feel that it was the point that it was harder and it was the part that you wanted to give up?
I feel like the pivotal moment, right, was when I started my internship. Because the theory aspect of being in culinary school, right, is very much similar to studying in school. Like, you just learn the theory aspect of.
Yeah, you know, you're like going through the.
It's like learning science, learning maths, that kind of thing. But when you start working, right, then it's a whole different ballgame. Now you have to deal with colleagues, you have to deal with the environment. Then it's very physical, very mental.
Very human.
Yeah, that's when you decide, oh, man, shit really hits the fan, that kind of thing. Then you're like, is this really cut out for me? That kind of thing. Even though the environment was hard, I think there were a lot of factors that allowed me to stay and persevere. One obviously is my parents. My mom gave me a lot of support, tell me that you need to persevere. Life is just hard as it is really. Just try to see what is at the end of this journey. Complete it first and then decide whether this is what you really want to do. Don't give up so early and then you end up regretting that you made this decision a bit too early by giving up. How I got into the culinary world was initially through deciding a career path I originally wanted, which is in business. My dad was in real estate, and when I asked for his advice and told him that I wanted to go into business, he said, like, I don't think this is right for you. At that point of time, it was also a bad time to join business. The market wasn't great, and you also kind of have that need to have that tenacity to do business. He said that, why don't you just join something that's recession-proof, which is kind of like pastry and baking. Just do cakes, maybe open up a cafe, one day do your own business through something that you can create with your own hands. So I decided, okay, why not I listen to your advice, and I started joining ITE to do pastry and baking for 2 years.
Tell me how to finish.
Can one. Please. Mind over body. Don't eat the carbs here already.
Then you order.
So why katong mewe? Actually, I can tell you, I only ate katong mewe once in my life, and that was like maybe 10 years ago.
This is the second time.
Yeah. But remember for what it is. Like you see, if we come any later than this, you'll be packed already.
It's 11:30 right now.
Is it still the boat? Subjective.
It was my goal on the podcast. Not sure if it is still my goal, but it's still a good plate nonetheless. Pretty cheap, like for the amount of food we have, right?
Under 50.
Under 50, yeah.
So I forgot about the soup.
I wanted to take whether to further my studies, because that was only a NITEC cert, and I wanted something at least of a diploma level. And at that point of time, my grades wasn't great. It's about a 3.2 aggregate, and couldn't get me into a poly that requires 3.5. So at that point of time, my lecturer also told me, hey, why not you join this course that we currently have in ITE, which is from the Institute of Paul Bocuse. And then I was like, okay, why not? Just join it. And then from then on, I think I took a different trajectory. I started hot cooking and working in a restaurant rather than just doing pastry in a hotel. Then slowly moving on, and here I am working together with you in Paraphrase. So why chili matang? Because I always come in for this dessert, which is the milk with the tang yuan. So milk with tang yuan has always been a childhood thing of mine. Ever since I was studying in primary school, there's a shop just right opposite my primary school that serves the cold milk with the huasen tang yuan. And I always went there with my mom. It brings back memories. But ever since I graduated from primary school, the shop is no longer there anymore. And I'm very sad that I cannot find this around my area. And then now that I'm in Katong and I came to this place, Chili Matang, I saw on their menu that they have this milk with huasen tang yuan. It's just a perfect scenario for me. I'm going to eat it. But as you can see right now, I'm not having the tang yuan. Why? Because of Sir VK that decided to order 5 portions of chicken.
Not my fault.
I cannot start at tang yuan anymore. So hence,
not my
this
fault.
is why you don't see the tang yuan.
It was a good meal.
Okay. When I was in army, I did a lot of teaching, teach CPR and AED. When I came out of army, I decided I wanted to take like a short break, but I ended up becoming a short stint in ABC Cooking Studio, teaching people because I already done teaching in army, right? Although it's not the same thing, but I just transitioned to another route, teaching path for about 3 years. And then when I came out, I also did a few part-time stints here and there, and then ended up meeting through a friend. I met you, and then now we are here at Paraphrase.
Since we both went for culinary studies, at some point do you feel like it kind of prepared you for the workforce? Or prepared you for like wherever you are?
I think another analogy I'll use is, will you go and fight a war without joining the army?
I mean,
you wouldn't. You will sign on first, right? You train and then you go fight a war.
Of course, if there's no chance, there's no chance.
If you live in a war, then okay, you're better hardened, then okay, that's great. But some people survive, some people don't. But if the more prepared you are, I feel like it gives you a better chance, more of an edge over other people, and maybe success in your career.
Do you think that if you didn't go for your culinary studies, like the Institute of Paul Bocuse, do you feel that you have been judged if you just graduated from ITE and then went straight out the workforce?
I feel like in the food industry, the barrier entry is very low. So in terms of being judged, I don't think so by your fellow peers within the same industry. But if you're talking about in general, whether your relatives or friends from other industry will judge you, then yes, I feel like the stigma of needing to have some level of higher education is very much needed in Singapore.
Do you feel like the grade of like what you studied at NITEC and then what you studied for the diploma, the difference?
There's a vast difference. I would say that the NITEC that I studied, even though it was not as tough, it did prepare me for the workforce, but I would say it's a bit more basic. Then the next one that I went, which is the diploma, was a bit more condensed.
Felt more advanced.
Felt more advanced and felt a bit more personal in that sense. Because just now you're talking about judgment when it comes to people of our industry. That means like
I just wonder whether you ever felt it before.
So far no, because I felt like ITE over the years have what they have done correct was to increase the caliber of their lecturers. And in that, right, of course, before my time, I think a lot of people, even people who are not students of ITE, always have the perception that ITE is, the name implies, is the end. And I always think that students are there due to a lower level of intellect or because they have nothing better to do. Well, that might be the case at some point in time, but I felt like because of the improvement of caliber of their lecturers over the years, their standards have been increased and therefore the caliber of the students have also been uplifted. So if let's say right now, if I were to go back to my previous restaurant that I work in, and I ask like, how do you think about ITE students? I think the perception has changed over the years and people are more than willing to hire people that are from ITE or graduates of ITE. How do I feel now as a chef is, my current situation is a bit more unique. I'll say that right now, as I'm working with BK at Paraphrase, I was given a lot of opportunity in terms of creating my own dishes. And as a chef, I feel like that is the outlet for me to work that creative muscle. So I feel like this is the point where, as a chef, I want to progress in that way where I can create something of my own and eventually have a repertoire of dishes that I can pull out wherever I go. Okay, hi. Okay. Here you go. Hi.
So, what do you think is your end goal?
My end goal. I think I'm still in the midst of like trying to look for that goal, but ultimately maybe to own a place of my own that I can call my own and create my own dishes. Or another goal that feels a bit more realistic to me right now is also through content creation and doing my own recipes at home. Somewhere that I can start, which is from home, and I have the luxury to do so, and eventually move on to that route. Yeah. So that I feel like that's my ultimate goal right now.
Both of us obviously chose the culinary route. And how do you feel your family or your parents feel about it now, like your progress throughout?
Although they didn't explicitly say it, but I can feel like they are proud of my journey thus far.
That's an Asian parenting.
Yeah, the Asian parenting. They don't express their love to you. But you kind of know it's there somewhere.
Yeah. You think they'll be even more proud for the next step forward?
I think I'll put it this way. I feel like my parents are supportive even though they don't say it. And whatever I do from this stage onwards, they are always supportive of it even though they don't say it.